Hello there everyone, and welcome to your weekly MTA plan work video for the Queens Subways and Long Island Railroad for the weekend of Friday, July 12th, 2019, and lasting until Monday, July 15th, 2019. The official sources of the service changes come from the email notification system sent by the MTA, the MTA's website at www.mta.info, and the Weekender website. We have a couple service changes we need to get into. The 7 will be impacted. The Ditmars Boulevard line will be impacted. We also have to talk about the Queens Boulevard line. Another headache past Euclid Avenue on the A and the C. But there is some good news for other lines this weekend. Also, I'll talk to you about a detour along the Q31 bus route taking place tomorrow, July 13th. And we'll talk about the Long Island Railroad, where we have 2 projects going on this weekend and another project that will be taking place next weekend. I'll quickly preview that. I won't get into it this week. So without further ado, let's get into the Queens Subways. First up, how's the 7? July 13th through the 14th, 3:45 a.m. Saturday, 10 p.m. Sunday. Hudson Yards bound 7 service will run express from Willets Point to Queensboro Plaza because of track maintenance. For service to skip stations, take the 7 to Junction Boulevard, 61st Street Woodside, or Queensboro Plaza and transfer to a Flushing Main Street bound train. For service from skip stations, take the 7 to 61st Street Woodside, Junction Boulevard, or Willets Point, and transfer to a Hudson Yards bound train. Is there any work on the end? Once again, we have the bus project, the buses that are going to be helping out people in Astoria because of station renewal. So it'll be taking place July 13th through the 14th, 3:45 a.m. Saturday, 10 p.m. Sunday. The shuttle buses will be running between Ditmars Boulevard and Queensboro Plaza, and it will be replacing N service once again because station renewal. N trains will be running between Coney Island, Stillwell Avenue, and Queensboro Plaza. Free shuttle buses will make all N stops between Queensboro Plaza and Ditmars Boulevard. So once again, if you are along the Ditmars line and you need to get to Kaufman Movie Theater, you're going to have to take the bus to the 36th Avenue stop. Some buses departing Ditmars Boulevard won't run express to Queensboro Plaza. Transfer between trains and buses at Queensboro Plaza. Also, I want to let you all know, W service will be ending early. So this will begin tonight at 8:30. There will be no W service after 8:30 tonight because of signal maintenance. So you can take the N or the R train to get back into Queens. If you need service, just take the N. That's all I'm going to say if you're going to get back into Astoria. Speaking of the R, I have good news. Our service will be available along the Queens Boulevard line. I quickly want to mention that there's going to be numerous headaches in Brooklyn this weekend. My fellow colleague Matt Camper posted a presentation on his OneDrive, so I will link that in the description below if you want more information on what's going on in Brooklyn this weekend. I did look at the changes in Brooklyn, and they are going to be very chaotic this weekend. How's the E train? This will also be along the F, so let's just get to the E first. The 13th for the 15th, 12:01 a.m. Saturday to 5 a.m. Monday. Because of signal modernization, E trains will run local in both directions in Queens. Same with the F. F will also be running local because of signal modernization. Now let's get to the A and the C line. July 12th for the 15th, 9:45 p.m. Friday to 5 a.m. Monday. Manhattan-bound A and C trains will skip Kingston Thorpe, Franklin, Clinton, Washington, and Lafayette Avenue because of signal maintenance. For service to these stations, take the A to Hoyt Schermerhorn and transfer to an Ozone Park Far Rockaway bound local train. For service from these stations, take the A eastbound to... Oh, right. Inward bound, so that's westbound. I do apologize. For service from these stations, take the A to Utica Avenue. Transfer to an inward bound train. So you got to go east to go west. That's how it works. Let's get to the C once again. For service to the stations that I just mentioned, you can also take the C to Hoyt Schermerhorn and transfer to an eastbound train going to Euclid Avenue. For service from skip stations, take the C to Utica Avenue and transfer to a 168th Street bound train. July 12th for the 15th, 10 p.m. Friday to 5 a.m. Monday. Uptown A trains will stop at Spring Street, 23rd Street, and 50th Street because of track maintenance. Sorry, looks like there is going to be local service. That stinks. Nothing I can do about it. It's the MTA. Also, I quickly want to mention that you will be seeing service being impacted as well in time loops, as I like to call them. Track maintenance will cause A trains to run every 10 minutes between 207th Street and Rockaway Boulevard on July 13th, and every 12 minutes on the C on July 13th for the 14th, because trains must share tracks between Canal Street and 42nd Street Port Authority. Quickly, let's get to the J. I have good news. There is no work on the J this weekend. How about the G? There is no planned work on the G. Now let's get to the Q31 detour. July 13th, that's tomorrow, Saturday, 11 a.m. to 3 p.m. Southbound buses are going to be rerouted from Jamaica Avenue at Merrick Boulevard to Parsons Boulevard due to a local event. Buses will be going along Archer Avenue, making corresponding stops in Jamaica. Here are the details of the reroute. Via 169th Street, it will be making a right on Jamaica Avenue, left on Merrick Boulevard, right on Archer Avenue, right on Parsons Boulevard, left on Jamaica Avenue, and then following the regular route. So, once again, if you're trying to get to the normal bus stop at Suffolk Boulevard for train service at Jamaica, you should not be impacted in regards to that. However, I will mention that I'm going to assume if the bus is going on Parsons, that it will probably have to make an additional stop right along Parsons Boulevard, hopefully, so that way passengers can get to the Jamaica Center subway station. But if not, there's always a plan B. You can just go from Suffolk Boulevard JFK, or use the Long Island Railroad, either way. Speaking of the Long Island Railroad, we will now get to this weekend's service changes. We have now reached the Long Island Railroad service changes portion of this week's video, and for a proper way to do it for this week, I will be reading to you all a press release that was issued back on Wednesday. So this was 2 days ago, so this is July 10th. So here's what we have this weekend on the Long Island Railroad. They are going to be replacing switches in Syosset and perform critical rail safety test on the Port Washington branch. So guess what? The Sperry rail car will be in action this weekend. And again, you know why they're doing it this weekend. I'm going to say right now, the Mets are not home. The Mets won't be home until July 23rd. Yeah, I got the date right. That was like, wait a minute, I hope I got the date right. There we go, yeah. That's when the Mets will be home, so good planning. Very good planning by the MTA. Of course, good planning by the Capital team, I think, and especially how communicated with Philip Bang, gathering him, of course. So anyhow, there's going to be a switch replacement project east of the Syosset station. And on Saturday, July 13th, there will be critical rail test on the Port Washington branch. The Syosset switch replacement project will take place between Saturday and Sunday, July 13th and 14th. So let's take a look at the Port Jefferson Huntington line. Crews will be replacing a switch east of Syosset. So it will be between Syosset and Cold Spring Harbor. The switch at a location that railroad employees known as Amet Interlocking allows the railroad to switch trains between two tracks between Huntington and Hicksville. As a result of this work, weekend service to and from Syosset, Cold Spring Harbor, and Huntington will operate hourly instead of every 30 minutes. Service to and from Port Jefferson will operate every 2 hours instead of every 90 minutes. Service between Hicksville and New York City will not be affected. So that is excellent news on that front, because the Yankees are going to be at home this weekend, and for everybody to connect with the B&D train at 34th and Herald, that won't be good if you don't have the service going to the city. Train departure times for July 13th and 14th are available via the MTA and the Long Island Railroad train time apps and at mta.info. And there will be a special timetable. So the timetable will be here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to leave a link to this press release in the description below so you all can get the information that way. There will again be a special PDF file. And lastly, on the Port Washington branch, there will be rail safety test on the Port Washington line taking place tomorrow, July 13th. The tests are performed by the Sperry Rail Car, a bright yellow train fitted with ultrasonic and induction test equipment, and is designed to detect internal defects inside the running rails that are not readily visible to the eye. Defects that are found will be corrected immediately by Long Island Railroad track maintenance workers. Train service on most of the branch will operate at normally scheduled times, but as a result of the work, buses will substitute for trains at Manhasset, Plain Dome, and Port Washington between midnight and 5 p.m. During this time period, westbound trains will originate at Great Neck at their normal times. Customers looking to travel from Port Washington, Plain Dome, or Manhasset will be able to board buses to Great Neck to connect with regularly scheduled train service. Buses depart 30 minutes earlier than normal scheduled times. So I'm hoping that maybe some of the Casey Stengel drivers will be doing these runs late at night. I mean they're going to be troopers, and they're going to have to do the long hauls to get people along Northern Boulevard late at night on Saturday. So this is the wee hours in the morning, so if you got plans in the city, I'm going to warn you right now, if you can, please try to find parking in Great Neck if you can, because it's a hassle to find parking. I know this from experience, because, if you have a car and you don't want to wait for a bus late at night, I understand why. So again, if you can, please try to find parking in Great Neck. Also, I will recommend this. There is parking. Side streets do have a couple. It will probably get packed, but try to look for parking in Little Neck. Don't go to Douglaston, because the problem with Douglaston is Douglaston doesn't really have that many free parking available on the side streets. So Little Neck, you have it more spaced out. So that would be my recommendation. If you don't want to deal with these buses. Anyhow, if you want to deal with the buses, you can connect with them at Manhasset, Plain Dome, or Port Washington. And again, 29 additional minutes of travel time, which is crazy. Which is insanity. So that's going to wrap up reading this press release. Before I wrap up the video for this week, I quickly want to mention that there's going to be a big headache along the main line next week. That's right, we're going to have no service between Mineola and Hicksville. And I'm really going to get into it next week. So that's just a quick preview of what's to come next week. And also, I know I didn't bring it up in the PowerPoint, but this is very important. If you need service to Forest Hill Stadium for the Weird Al Yankovic concert next week along the Queens Boulevard line, the E and the F train will be making local stops next weekend. I can confirm this. If anything changes, I will update you all in next week's PowerPoint. But I can confirm there will be additional extra service to help customers get to and from Forest Hill Stadium before and after the Weird Al Yankovic concert, which is scheduled to take place next Saturday, July 20th at Forest Hill Stadium. So with that, thank you all for watching, and until the next one, please take care.